And everybody, welcome to Smack Talk Live. I am Coach Longphone Wolf. Well, we're going to start with the NBA and LeBron James. This story can fit into two categories. Where's he going to go to probably finish his career?
Yeah.
Or is he going to do like a 1-year contract to say, I'm just going to team jump until I get another ring? But it also falls in the category that of a segment that we used to do is, do you care? So we'll
Right.
talk about it, and then we will go over whether we care about it or not. So I'm gonna let you start up this,
Sure.
get it going.
Well, and coach, I think that the thing that's funny is there's been a lot of talk in the NBA over the last couple of weeks. We talked about Giannis and the trade there, obviously. And then there's been a lot of talk about the Brown trade to Philadelphia. But for some reason, and this will get into that later piece that you were talking about, where LeBron is going is on the same level and plane as those guys and their trades, right? Those shook up the NBA or changed the landscape of the NBA more than this will. Like LeBron is not the same guy he used to be, but I think because it's the name, it carries that weight, and everybody wants to talk about where he's going to end up. You and I were listening to some radio show in the car the other day, and the guy was like, "There's at least 10 or 12 teams, maybe more than 12 teams that he could be looking at going to." And then we were laughing and like, "This is a third of the league. What the hell are you even talking about?" I really feel like there's only a couple of realistic scenarios, and a lot of these other teams, when they get introduced, it's just because people like to play fantasy basketball or fantasy anything when this comes up. They're like, well, if he went here, then they could do this and da-da-da. You're not playing NBA 2K. You're not, a fantasy GM or something like where you're just making this up. It's fun to speculate, but LeBron has been linked potentially to Miami. There's been talk about him going home to Cleveland. And honestly, there's probably only a handful of teams that really actually realistically have a shot, either that they have the cap space or that they want LeBron. And here's the other thing. There's some teams you just eliminate right away because if they can't win a championship next year, why would he go there? Right? There's literally no point to him going to those teams. He wants to win another title. He's not going to go to Dallas or something like that, which has been suggested. He's never going to go there. I could see a Miami because they have a chance to win a title. And Cleveland, they're pretty good. So if he went and ended up there, it'd be a good locker room presence, which is why those teams, coach, actually make sense. Beyond that, there's a couple others that have been thrown out there, but they just don't make any sense to me. And I think it's probably going to be one of those two, honestly.
Yeah, you look at I honestly think he's going to go to Miami. Um, you talk about putting him in the greatest of all time conversation with Kobe and Jordan and all those.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. Jordan did it with one team.
Right.
Kobe did it with one team. LeBron has chased championships.
Yeah.
He's been, I'll even give the 2 cents in Cleveland as a one, but he started in Cleveland, went to Miami, went back to Cleveland, went to the Lakers, and
Right.
now he's going to go somewhere else. I think it's going to be Miami. He knows the organization. Giannis is there now, and you got
Right.
Bam, whatever.
Adebayo.
Hasn't
Yeah.
done anything since the finals, really. Um, so I think he's going to look at that situation and be like, hey, you know, um, we can win a championship if I go there. I don't think
Right.
that he makes him a championship contender. I don't think he has that
No.
power anymore. But I think that that's what he's gonna think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he kind of reminds me a little bit. You remember when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors? Like he bounced around a little bit too, and he was doing the same sort of thing. You know, the difference is that he's had a lot of success, like Olympic success, but he hasn't won a ton of titles or anything like that, which is where like, that made more sense to me. If a guy needs to get a championship, that's different. Whereas LeBron has four. But I think this is where LeBron is chasing Kobe or some of those other guys. Like Kobe has five. So LeBron's sitting there and like, I want to have another one, right? I want to be in that conversation. If I don't get there, that's a knock on me, or that's just my legacy, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I
Right.
do I care that much? No, coach, I really don't care that much. I think if he ends up in Miami, they still don't win the NBA title.
No.
So
No, you're right. I don't think he does. They do. I
yeah,
don't think that he is in that same realm anymore.
right.
Um, you know, I
They have
just
a good roster. I mean, it's a
I
playoff
mean,
roster, but I don't think it's a championship roster.
right. Either do I. And I think they'll be a deep playoff run team, but they're not going to be um a championship level team.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so we'll see what happens there with that. Um, really, other than that, I mean, not a ton of NBA news. Free agency officially starts this week or next week, I think, for the
yeah,
NBA.
yeah. And the Brown trade is something that people have made a big deal out of, but I just want to say this, Coach. Embiid is hurt all the time, and the Sixers are going to be decent, but they're also not going to win a title just because he's there. They just don't have the pieces around him. I'm not convinced with Embiid. He's a walking injury.
Right,
So
right, and I think you know you look at it, and Philadelphia has yet to admit that Embiid is never gonna isn't what he is capable of, or he was
right.
capable of. He's too injured. Um, you know, um, I just don't see him being a cornerstone of a franchise that leads them to a title.
No.
Uh, Jalen Brown adds a nice, intriguing piece, but when you're only on the court with Embiid probably a third of the season because he's often injured, there's not
Right.
much you can do about that.
Yeah. Now, if he's
So,
healthy for the playoffs, they could make a decent run. Um, but that's just a big if. So, I don't want to bank on that if I'm them. So now they got a decent trade out of the deal with the Celtics. I won't fault them for that. But yeah, I still don't know that this is a championship team based on, what they put together. So
right. All right. Moving on. I guess we could talk a little bit about the Major League Baseball. Um, their trade deadline is coming up. The All Star game's coming up, which they had the All Star selection show. They actually televised that,
right.
which I really don't care about. But I'm gonna quick share my screen here. Oh, why can't I share? Oh, well, that's kind of dumb.
I'll make a comment about this, and maybe you want to talk about the All-Star game first, or you want to talk about standings. I'm not sure, but
we can talk about the All-Star game because it's pointless and stupid. So
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mediocrity or parity. I'm not sure which, but I'm gonna go with mediocrity. This is what it feels like if you look at the records in baseball right now with a lot of these teams.
yeah, I mean, I
At least
it's
in the American League.
that the league is mediocre, and you got the two rich teams that just spend all the gobs of money.
Yeah,
Um, but the great thing is, I love watching the Yankees fall now 4 games back the Tampa Bay Rays, who technically don't even have a home stadium right now.
right.
Um, you know, so it's really the Yankees and the Dodgers and everybody else. And,
Yeah,
you know, if we have a three-peat with the Dodgers winning the World Series this year and there isn't a salary cap put in place,
yeah,
I think you're going to see people start to zoning out baseball.
yeah. If they aren't already,
Because right now, if you're in the major and National League West, it's over. It's
right,
over. The Dodgers are up by 14 games already.
right. There's
So,
just no point. I mean,
like,
you look at that division and you're like, okay, can I hope for a wild card? Not in the National League with the teams that
no,
are in there. So if you're one of the fans of those four teams right now, you're like, well, okay, maybe I should cheer for another 80 games, but I don't think so.
right. So looking at the standings, Rays have 4 game lead on the Yankees. The Yankees are 1-9 in their last 10.
Yeah,
Um, the White Sox have a 1 game lead on the Guardians, and a 4 game lead on the Twins, which that's pathetic because the Twins are 3 games under 500, only 4 games back.
well, that's what I'm saying. Look at the American League. There's just a lot of mediocrity in this.
And then you got the AL West. You got the Mariners a game and a half up on the Rangers, 2.5 up on the Astros, and 5.5 up on the Athletics. Again, Seattle's 47-44.
Right.
I mean, the Athletics are 8 games under 500, only 8.5, or only 5.5 back.
It's just bad right now.
That's
Totally.
pathetic.
Yeah.
Then you get to the National League. You got the Braves with a 3 game lead on the Phillies, a 4.5 game on the Marlins, and then even Washington, they're a game over 500. They're already 7.5 back.
Right.
They would be in first place if you put them in the AL West,
Right.
or close to it.
Crazy,
I mean,
isn't it?
that's sad.
Yeah.
In the Central, you got the Brewers with a 6 game lead over the Cubs, 7.5 over the Cardinals, and again you have Pittsburgh, who is over 500, 10.5
Yep.
back.
Yep.
In the West, you got the Dodgers 14 games up, Diamondbacks and the Padres, and then you got the Giants and the Rockies. When you look at, it's a little hard to talk about the playoffs, but this just tells you how this system doesn't work. Is that you have the Yankees are up for the first wild card at 4.5 games. Unless they continue this slide, they're going to make it.
Yep.
Cleveland's only up a game and a half, and then the Rangers are there.
Right.
But then you really only have, I would say, right now, 2 other teams in striking distance. That's the Astros and the Twins. The Blue Jays are 6 games under 500, 3 games back to the wild card. That's
Yeah.
a tough order to come back from in half of a
Yeah.
season. You go to the National League, you got a 4-team race, and you have Pittsburgh, Washington, a game over 500, 3, and then you got Arizona and San Diego, a game under 500, 4 back, and then you got the Reds, and then the rest of the conference.
Right.
I don't know. I think they need to go and look at this, because right now you have probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clubs already that we're at the All-Star break, at the halfway point of the season, and they're checked out. They're done.
Well, and that's why, as we've talked about many times with baseball, it just irritates me is that you're a fan of one of those teams, you're just pointlessly looking at your team going, okay. And I don't want to go to a game just for the history of it or whatever. Like at this point, why am I spending a lot of money to go to a game if they stink? They're not making the playoffs. I know they're not making the playoffs. They're not turning it around and making a wild card run. It's just not going to happen. So this is why other leagues have more success with the intrigue that they generate, whereas this does not. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. I've talked to other people who are baseball fans, and they're kind of like, well, yeah, I knew my team was done, so I didn't really pay that close attention to it. I'm like, well, yeah, because what do you have to get thrilled about? Being a fan means you want to be thrilled about your team and its chances. There's nothing thrilling about watching your team suck. And it sucks, and there's still half the season to go.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, it blows my mind, man. It just does every time.
So there's that. Now, thank God for the World Cup, because this probably won't be our typical hour-long show, but there's not a lot to talk about in the summer, and thank God for the World Cup, because that gives us at least something to talk about.
It does, yeah, and some very interesting matches and results that we have to talk about here, Coach.
All right. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna bring up the bracket and go through the round of 16 games that have already been played. France beat Paraguay 1-0, so they will play on Thursday versus Morocco, who beat Canada 3-0.
But Coach, Canada was the better team.
Canada was the better team, according to their coach. Canada was the better team. I don't know. Last time I checked, when you get beat by a team, you're not the better team.
Yeah, but especially 3-0, which is like huge in soccer.
Right. Then today, here shortly, in a couple minutes, Portugal will be playing Spain. Later tonight, the USA takes on Belgium. We'll get to that game because there's a lot of controversy over that game right now.
Yep.
Norway takes out Brazil 2-1. So one of the tournament favorites is gone. England takes out Mexico, another tournament favorite, gone. Now in that game, this will be interesting to see, and we'll expound more on this later.
Right.
England played the last probably 40 minutes with only 10 guys on the field. It was a very chippy game. I felt the ref lost control of the game.
Yeah.
And at the 90-minute mark, you're waiting for the extra time. They added 11 minutes of extra time to that game.
Right.
It's like,
and there were a lot of cards late in that game, Coach. A lot of yellow cards started flying out at a certain point. But
we'll talk about my thoughts on FIFA here. In a little bit. Tomorrow we have Egypt versus Argentina and Colombia versus Switzerland. Now, to the USA game. In the first round match against Bosnia, wow, how do you say his name again?
Balogun.
Balogun gets a red card. after
Right.
VAR is used.
Yep.
I've been hearing a lot of people are just listening to stuff and reading articles that have been involved in FIFA for years, saying this is not how VAR is supposed to be used. This was not the intent of it. But after a complaint from the Bosnia coach, VAR was used and it was determined that he got a red card. Had to leave the game. USA played with 10. He's supposed to miss the Belgium game. The FIFA came out and said there's no appeal process for this.
Right.
Which is dumb. There should always be, when a questionable call is made, there should always be some type of appeal process.
Right.
If
It
it's
goes
going to have
beyond
future
that too,
penalties.
Coach. Right? Because you and I talked about this. If they were to appeal or try to appeal, they might extend the penalty.
But there isn't even an appeal process in place.
Right.
So, this isn't like, it's weird though, because during the regular FIFA season, when all these little leagues are playing, you can appeal it. Well, here you can't. Well, why is that?
Yeah, I'd really love to know that, and I think a lot of people would love to know that.
So, came out yesterday that FIFA is suspending the red card. They're not taking it away. So they did the same thing they did with Messi. So, because Messi had a red card prior to the World Cup.
Right.
And was supposed to be penalized, and he would have missed some World Cup games. They did the same thing for him, suspended it, and he will have to sit games in the future.
Yeah.
Because they suspended for a year and things like that. So they did the same thing here. He's going to be able to play tonight, suspended for a year. Whatever you want to read, whatever outlet you want to leave and believe. Some reporting saying that President Trump called FIFA and asked for this to be looked at again. Who knows if that's true or not? We're never going to get the right answer.
Right.
I don't think it was him that called. I think he had somebody from the White House call and tell them, hey, you need to look at this, or maybe we'll pull funding, some funding that we give to you. I don't know. And this is the reason I say this, Lone Wolf.
Yeah.
Because if he called them and they did this, he would have came on and been like, well, I called and talked to them and I told them. He would be gloating about this.
Oh, yeah. He'd be like,
if he personally had a part in getting this thing suspended, he would be gloating about it. Has that big of an ego.
He does. Like, I called FIFA and I said, you're fired.
Right. So,
yeah.
Though I think there was probably some pressure from the White House, I don't think it was Trump directly.
Right.
So, anyways, Belgium's going to play today. That greatly increases USA chances of advancing to round of 16.
Yeah.
They'll take on Spain or Portugal. So we'll see there how that plays out. Now, when you look at that play, part of a red card, you need to show malicious intent.
Right.
This was not malicious intent. It should have been just a yellow card. He was making a soccer play, and they got tangled up with each other. It was not malicious.
And he accidentally stepped on the guy's ankle. There was no malicious intent there.
So don't sit there and say there was malicious intent. Now, Belgium is all upset about it. They're saying that, they thought this was a joke and that they've been preparing to play without him on the field, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. That's just being ill prepared. As a coach, if there was unless we confirmed that like a team starter was just had like knee surgery and he's in a brace and on crutches and stuff.
Yeah.
We expect the best players to be on the field.
And that's what I was going to say, Coach. How many times have you, as a coach, been in this situation before where you're like, okay, we don't know if that guy's going to be out there or not. You know, they're going through this process right now. He might be. We're just going to plan as if he is out there or as if he's not out there, running different scenarios. You're preparing for these types of plays. You can't be over prepared as a coach. You're just doing it. So for the Belgian aside to complain about that, it's fine. Then you're just not well prepared, I guess, as a coaching
Right.
as a coaching staff.
Right. And so, part of it, people are saying, well, Belgium beat the USA 4-0 in an earlier friendly. I highly doubt they had their World Cup roster in at that friendly.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff.
I don't
But
put a lot of stock in that.
yeah, exactly. You can't put a lot of stock into that kind of situation. So,
Yeah. I think,
so,
Coach, and I don't know if you wanted to get into the red card situation or what FIFA is doing,
yeah.
or do you want to talk about the matches first?
Well, I
Because I wanted
want
to talk a little bit about the England Mexico situation too, and
Yep,
I don't know if
that's where
yeah.
I was going. That's where I was
Okay.
going to next. So in the England, this is why I said this would tie into this game. So during the match in England, a England player tried to do a slide tackle to the ball, missed, and then ended up taking out a Mexico player.
Right.
They gave him a red card. That's why I said this will be interesting to see how FIFA responds to this now.
Yeah.
Because again, there was an initial signal for a card by the ref. I think he was going to give him a yellow because
Yep.
he attempted to play the ball, missed, got the player.
Right. His
He
his
gets
leg
called
just
over
went
to
up
the
higher above
VAR.
the ball and hit the other leg.
Yeah, he gets called over to the VAR, and he comes out. It's a red card.
Right.
Now, you've set a precedence now.
Yeah.
You've set a precedence. What are you going to do on this? That's my question.
Yeah. Yeah.
First
What do
of
you do here,
all,
FIFA?
FIFA, you need to get your refs vetted very, very a more litigious way. Let's put it that way. You had a referee in the USA Bosnia game that was investigated for match rigging and sports betting. He
And
was
just so
not
we're
found.
clear, this is the guy that handed out the red card.
This is the guy who handed out the red card. He was found not guilty. Just because he was found not guilty in his home country doesn't mean he wasn't guilty.
Right. And he's from Brazil and he was found not guilty by the Brazilian Federation.
Correct.
But, if you have a ref like that, as FIFA, you don't put that person on the world stage and allow the scrutiny to come down on that person. You just don't do that as the governing body of all soccer. Why would you do that?
Right. Right. So that is going to be something that is talked about after this tournament.
Yeah.
How FIFA handles red cards. You have to have, especially in the biggest tournament you have that's only every 4 years. Why the hell you already don't have an appeal process for a red card? I mean, that's absurd.
Right. It is.
It's like, yeah, okay, maybe they don't want to deal with 50 appeals throughout the tournament. Okay, well, I understand that. But guess what? You That's part of your job as the governing body.
Yeah. And I was kind of looking right now while we were talking to see if this player, if Kwanzaa here, he's the one that had the red card, if he was going to be able to come back or not. I'm just kind of digging through some articles and I don't see
No,
anything about that.
He right now, as of right now, he is not. He is
Right.
out for the next match. So, it's unfortunate, but that's why I said we'll see what happens when it comes to um, to what they do, because this is going to be an interesting situation. So
I think it's interesting. So I was looking at this too. The Belgian Federation came out with this long statement about, the situation, blah, blah, blah. And they said they were astonished by FIFA's decision. But from what I gather, this is pretty normal for FIFA, who just kind of makes things up as they go along. And that's what it feels like.
right. And there's
And
a
that's
couple.
what. Yeah, I was just going to say that's what bugs me about this, Coach, is you have a league that is doing this and penalizing people, but they're just kind of arbitrarily deciding when and when not to enforce their own rules.
Right. So the biggest thing here is FIFA is a clown show of an organization. They've been raided. Their offices have been raided in the past for embezzlement and things like that. So they had all that big scandal. You have all sorts of issues with FIFA. Now, I will say this: there are a couple people over somewhere in the European nation, they're big in soccer, that are coming out and saying that that FIFA suspending this red card is the darkest day in the organization's history.
What?
And I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Coach, didn't you just open this whole thing by saying that Messi had a red card and he was supposed to be suspended for some of the World Cup, but he's not because he's
correct.
Messi, and the FIFA's like, we don't give a crap. We want Messi out there.
Right. And it's his last World Cup. We're not going to have him sit games in his last World Cup.
So how can anybody even say that?
I mean, Messi's red card and them suspending his red card for a year before the World Cup starts is basically saying we're not going to suspend him, because if he's not playing in the next World Cup, he's probably almost done playing altogether.
Yeah, he's too old. I think he's too old. Yeah.
So he's probably will never even sit that suspension.
Right.
So it's like, whatever. So this is the issue right now with FIFA is how this is handled. And it all started because they don't have that appeal process.
Exactly. So fix it.
If they would have had an appeal process, none of this would be happening.
Yeah.
So
it's that simple. I think if there's this is what we were talking about the other day, Coach, and I think I was mentioning this. This is about consistency to me. It's what bugs me the most. It doesn't, to me, as a body, you should say, it doesn't matter who the person is. So if you have a red card, they should sit. If that's your rule, that's your rule, and it's absolute. If there is an appeal process, great, follow along with that. If there's not, okay, then there's not. But you can't have it both ways. Then it just looks arbitrary. So everybody gets fed up with it because, this isn't encouraging me to go out and watch more soccer.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'll become a fan of a team and then start watching it, and my guy gets a red card. Well, he might come back and play. He might not come back and play. He might be suspended 5 games in the future, and he might be played the next 4 games because FIFA feels like it. What? Right. What the hell does that? What does that mean? What does that do? It's terrible.
Right. All right. What else do you have, Lone Wolf? Because we're only 35 minutes into the show. Again, there's not a lot to talk about in sports. We do have a little bit of time before we get into our final segment of the show.
No, I don't. There were a couple other stories, but we're not going to talk about some of that stuff. So,
all right, it is time, everybody.
Yeah. I am the great Cornholio. You have awakened my bunghole, and now you must pay. The streets will flow with the blood of the non-believers.
It never gets old,
the
Coach.
Beavis comment of the week, and there are many of them this week. We'll start with one that it's not. I don't really have the.
I wish we could run a poll or
video
something.
of it. Alyssa Thomas coming out.
Yeah.
Playing the victim card, saying that she's received death threats and all this stuff. Because people won't let this go, and basically calling her a thug that's not right, and all this stuff. I look at that and saying, guess what? You shouldn't be punching people in the throat during a basketball game.
Yeah. Yeah. Or trying to knee them in the groin and then punch them in the throat.
Right. You know,
yeah.
I mean, seriously. Don't do that stuff.
What else would you like us to call you when you're doing stuff like that on a basketball court where it's illegal to do that?
Right.
Or it's against the rules. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Just
stuff against the rules, that's okay. Right? That's okay.
Yeah, it's no problem. Just go ahead and do that. It's fine. You were taught that at a young age, and in youth basketball and high school level. That's what your coaches would tell you all the time. I mean, that's what you tell people if you were coaching basketball, right? Just go ahead and knee people in the groin. That's what you do.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get fired. So.
All right. So that's Beavis comment 1. Pretty good Beavis comment. Not not the top one of the week, at least in my opinion.
Nope, I agree.
There are 2. I only have video of 1. I can't find the video of it. I don't know if he said it during a show or not. But Shannon Sharpe came out this week and said that the Lakers have their new franchise player.
Yep.
And that Bronny James is the new face of the Los Angeles Lakers and will be their star. It's not the exact quote.
Yep.
But I mean, how absurd can you be?
Hey, Shannon, stick to football, buddy.
Well, how about this? Get your own life in order. Forcing yourself on women and stuff. It's like,
yeah, there's that too.
Let's get your life in order. Why tell me where the evidence is that Bronny James is going to be the face of the Lakers franchise.
Coach, we looked up his stats when you and I saw this quote, and I was going through his stat line. I think he averages around 2 or 2.5 points per game or something like that, and like half a rebound or some garbage. He's not any good. He's not any good. I do not understand where this is coming from at all. Other than, we have LeBron worship, so of course his son's going to be good, but he's not good.
Yeah, he's not. Tell you what, his younger brother is probably going to be better.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. This is not.
I don't even know how you can say that. There's just really no way of living in reality and saying that that's going to happen. So yes, Beavis comment number 2.
Well, we've already talked about this one. We have Canadian soccer coach coming out and saying that Canada was the better team in their game against Morocco. You didn't even take it to overtime, buddy. You lost 3-0 obviously you weren't the better team.
Yeah.
So
And I don't understand coach, sometimes you say things to kind of motivate your team after you lose, or you say certain things. I don't know how that would motivate your team or make them feel better. I mean,
well, it's not like this is like pool play though. This is like your tournament's over.
right. You're going home.
Like you're probably not playing another game for like another month and a half, 2 months maybe.
Right. Right. This
So,
is why this is a Beavis comment. And this makes no sense whatsoever. It's just you say something like that and yeah.
right.
You get laughed at. I mean, that's what you get laughed at.
You get laughed at.
Yeah.
But that is not the Beavis comment of the week.
No, this one takes the cake, bar none.
Let me see if I can get it to work. See if the volume will work on this.
Hopefully, yeah.
Where's my volume? Hold on, everybody. We are going to get the volume on here because
yeah, you almost have to just hear it. Yeah.
With this junction, be better with
Caitlin
Clark because she is a bigger distraction than she is an additive. Caitlin Clark has gotten the WNBA over the necessary threshold they needed. Now people are watching. Now we realize, oh, there's talent in the W, talent that's actually even greater than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not just talking about bigs like Asia. I'm talking about the Olivia Miles. I'm talking about the Paige Beckers. Hell, I'm talking about the Kelsey Mitchells. Caitlin got the necessary eyes there. But now that the eyes are there, we don't necessarily need her anymore. Caitlin did what only Caitlin could do, and we don't necessarily need her to do anymore. Thank you, Caitlin. We can take it from here. Now you're saying that the WNBA needs to be cognizant of where they put Caitlin Clark on posters. The WNBA and the officials need to alter the rules for Caitlin Clark. The WNBA and opposing players need to treat Caitlin Clark more gently. Caitlin Clark's coach needs to be cognizant of how she talks to her in public because it's going to look like there's an issue. Unless we can take off our gloves for Caitlin Clark and stop trying to act like she's a messiah, the WNBA could and would be better off without Caitlin Clark, at least without this version of everybody coddling and caressing and catering to Caitlin Clark.
All right, so
I like the sirens. I don't know if that was intended, but
no, it's not. It's not.
It was still funny either way.
All right, Emmanuel. Aho or Aho, whatever, however you pronounce your name. I don't know because I don't watch you because you're an idiot. You are a freaking idiot.
That's his dumb smart take or whatever he said.
Yeah. Where do we start with this?
Yeah.
That's the question. Where do we start?
He has it so wrong on the whole thing. Yeah.
First of all, how are calling fouls when there's a foul changing the rules?
Or how is that coddling?
She got punched in the throat and kicked in the groin. How is that coddling?
Yeah.
She is hurt because of hard fouls day in and day out.
Right.
How is that coddling?
Right. This isn't about a player who is having rules changed for her. It's about a player who has been targeted and allowed to be targeted in the WNBA. It's not better off without her. Oh, like, thank you. You've done what we needed you for. Now get out of here. Like, we have so many good players here. No, people are just going to stop watching if she's not there anymore. And that's what this moron doesn't understand.
Right. Exactly. So you say that you got the eyes there. Now they're realizing there's talent in the league. No, the only reason I pay attention to WNBA is to see what news Caitlin Clark brings.
Right.
And his comment about where we put her on our poster, you made an all-star poster and left her off of it. Your number one star in the league, you didn't put on the all-star poster.
Right. That's
That
like
would be
not
like
putting, and we talked about LeBron earlier, but that's like
Yeah.
not putting LeBron in his heyday on a
Right.
poster.
Let's leave Michael Jordan off of an NBA advertising poster.
Right. Now, I know this guy would be like, well, it's not the same. She doesn't have that level. Blah. No, she doesn't have their championships and all those things, but she quickly became the face of the league. And this is what the real problem is, coach, is that these people don't want her to be the face of the league. Well, too bad, because
Right.
people are watching because she's there. You can use her for what you need her to be. Put her on every damn poster and get more interest in the WNBA. Oh, but that's right. The WNBA does not like to make money. They just think people are supposed to bend over backwards and watch the WNBA. But if we lose money, that's okay because we're just going to fail as a business. It's okay. It's okay to fail.
Well, that's the thing. They think that the league is going to flourish without her.
Right.
The reason people still go to games is to see Caitlin Clark.
Right.
And I will say this: the one thing that the way that things are going right now, you have more people behind Caitlin Clark that are going to watch because of her.
Right.
Because they're defending her.
Yeah.
Well, if she says, I am done with this stuff, you're losing at least a third to a half of your viewership.
Well, and the numbers don't lie, coach. And I think that's the bottom line is we looked up, and I don't have that in front of me right now, but we looked up previously, and we talked about it on the show, when she was in the league, when she first started, and the games where she was playing, the attendance and the viewership spiked dramatically. And when she's not playing, it goes way down. And I'm not talking like 5%, 10%. I'm talking like 50 or 60%. Like these things are huge. The numbers don't lie. So you can argue about, oh, she's not there, the WNBA will be fine. But you're just wrong because the numbers are there to support one way or the other. So go ahead and say that whatever you feel like, but the numbers don't lie, buddy.
Right. So
they just don't.
They had a 6.3% year-over-year increase they're averaging a 6% increase from last year to this year.
Okay. In viewership or attendance or what?
In attendance.
Okay.
In attendance. Say you even lose a half of that, have a 3% increase.
Yeah.
You would still, that would take, taking the math with Caitlin Clark out of there because of that 3%, you would be under averaging 10,000 fans per game.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No. And let's not forget, coach, that the WNBA lost $40 million last year. So even with her being there, they still, as an organization, lost money. So let's say they grew a little bit this year. Okay, well, maybe they'll only lose $37 million this year instead. But, you target your best player and you make it so that she can't be out there. Yeah.
Right. See, they just don't understand what is going on.
No, they don't.
My opinion with it. So
no. That coach is just a terrible take. And, he throws it all out there. And I don't know if he's saying because he believes it or if he wants to be controversial. But in my opinion, I look at that guy when he's giving that little speech there. I think he believes that.
Oh, I strongly do. I think he believes that the WNBA does need Caitlin Clark.
Right.
Well, guess what? If Caitlin Clark says, I'm jumping ship, I'm going playing in Europe, you're also taking probably 4 or 5 of the other top WNBA players with her.
Yeah.
That's what I don't think people understand.
Right.
If she leaves because of the way that the WNBA treats players, the top players aren't going to the WNBA. They're going to go to Europe.
Yeah. And
So-
and this league, as we've talked about many times, has been propped up by the NBA because it has not been successful. It's been around for a long time because it's getting that financial support. So there's only so long. I mean, they're trying to build the brand and whatever else. I get that, but every time we talk about it, Coach, it's negatively. We're not talking about the games or whatever. We're always talking about this. And is that the press that you want for your league?
Well, right. But that's the only press that they can get.
And that's sad.
So the only press that they can get, because most of us do not want to follow it.
Yeah.
The way it's at.
Right.
And until they understand that you need to draw in casual fans,
Yeah,
to sustain your league, you're going to struggle.
right. You can have diehards. There's some people that just love a certain sport. Great, but that doesn't sustain you as a professional sports league.
The other thing, so remember, just a couple years ago, ticket price to WNBA pretty affordable.
Right.
Upper level seats now are averaging $20 to $50, and most other seats average $173. Lower level sideline tickets are $75 to $150. Premium courtside seats are $200. Who in their right mind is going to watch or spend $200 courtside to see Brittany Griner and what's the other one? Me Bounds.
Me Bounds.
Yeah.
We'll just call her Me Bounds. We don't even care.
We aren't going to pay that much money to go watch that.
Yeah.
Now, Caitlin Clark out there, maybe. I still think it's a little higher priced.
Right.
But, I guess if the Indiana Fever were around and, you have Caitlin Clark, Sophia Cunningham, and that group, it'd be fun to watch.
Yeah.
But if they're not playing, I would be like, nope.
Well, and that's what they don't understand. And so you could sit there and you could say, well, these prices aren't that different from other sporting events for, okay, I get that. But I need to be interested in what I'm watching to pay that kind of money.
Right.
So
and it's not very interesting if Caitlin Clark's not on the court. Let's just put that way. So,
right.
She brings intrigue and anything can happen on the court, from a great pass to great shot.
Yeah.
So
I just don't understand how she became the villain so quickly for the WNBA and all the players in the WNBA. But that may be a longer debate or something at some point we need to get into. But
exactly. All right. Anything else, Lone Wolf?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I want to thank everybody for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will talk to you next time.